it's weird as hell when you run into someone who doesn't acknowledge or understand or even believe in a really basic concept. And this is what I keep running into with certain, I guess, libertarians lately, and the idea of the social contract. Whether they're actually ignorant or whether they're just being deliberately obtuse or trying to make some kind of point, I don't know, but they just seem to refuse to acknowledge the idea of the social contract. What seems to throw them is the fact that it's not an actual written contract and that it's something implicit. So what a social contract is a term for the kind of unwritten expectations that we have of each other, the reciprocity, the kind of behavioural agreements that go unsaid. So, for example, if you sit down to a board game with everyone, there is an implicit agreement that everyone's there to have fun and everyone's going to play according to the rules and so on. You don't have to sit down and make a contract about that, an actual contract. You don't have to sit down and sign and witness and make promises that you're going to abide by the rules of the game and behave like a good guest. These things go unsaid. And there's plenty of other instances of that as well. You could say that the golden rule is an implied social contract. I don't want to live in a world where these things happen to me, so I'm not going to do them to others, and we all operate under that assumption. Which isn't to say that these social contracts can't be broken. They can. You have an expectation of a friend that maybe they will help you do this, that, or the other. Maybe move some furniture into your new apartment. And when they refuse for whatever reason, you feel put out. That is a social contract at work. So if it's implicit, how can we say that it exists? Well, we know from our own experience that we have expectations of others and that we feel obligations to others, unless we're psychopaths or sociopaths anyway. So we can know empirically that we have these drives and so on within us, and we can know that these are natural because we can see them across all human societies, primitive societies, advanced societies, and also we can see them in our neighbours, in other social apes. We see in apes and monkeys that there is an expectation of fairness, that there is a reciprocity between them. You pick bugs off my back, I'll pick bugs off yours. So social contracts exist outside humanity, in our near neighbours, even further away. Any animal that has a social aspect to it has this kind of implied social contract. And obviously they have no language, they have no paperwork, they have no law enforcement, so they can't make paper contracts, but they still have these expectations. And when things are unfair, like if one rat gets fed more than another in the next cage, that rat will experience stress. If one monkey receives an unfair ration of fruit, then the other monkeys get pissed off and may even attack that monkey. The evidence is there that this is a thing, and this is in many ways the engine of society. It's what enables us to organise on a larger scale. And things like governments and so on are simply codified versions of these social contracts with enforcement behind them. But those are also expectations. We expect our governments to behave in certain ways, to protect us, to guarantee our rights, and so forth. And in return they expect us to contribute in some way. This can go out of whack in certain societies. Social contracts can be negative too. If you're in North Korea, you may have the implicit expectation that if you step out of line, you're going to get killed, imprisoned, or sent to a work camp, and they expect you to kowtow and buckle under. But violations of these contracts lead to uprising, violence, jealous monkeys, stressed rats, and that's what we are too. To deny the existence of the social contract is to deny the existence of any sort of organisational level of humanity at all. It's to deny friendship, it's to deny family, it's to deny kin, to deny tribe, to deny civilization, the entire basis of human cooperation of any kind. And if you are a libertarian or an anarchist, and you remove any and all versions of the state, the social contract is all you have to fall back on, because you have no way to enforce your agreements, etc., other than convincing others via the social contract to enforce it for you, or the guilt and need for reciprocity that people feel naturally coming from that as a social species. So to deny the social contract is to deny what makes humans human, really. Our ability to form communities, friendships, to work together, to cooperate towards common goals. These are some of the defining characteristics of humanity, along with our intelligence. It's a thing, you can't escape it. Just because it's not written on paper doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Zang.
Grim gave a big yawn and settled down to sleep. And of course, when Grim goes to sleep, all of his friends go to sleep too. The people on the internet were just text on a screen, the collectibles were just cheap plastic tat, and the books were just elaborate sandwiches made of wood and paper. Even Grim himself, once he was asleep, was just an old saggy goth twat, baggy and a bit loose at the seams, and nobody loved him.